swirled among the buildings in Upper Manhattan. A small battle between the demons and the Dominion soldiers raged in the streets of Harlem. Hector followed my line of sight. He didn't appear concerned about the fight, which meant that sort of battle was normal in the war zone. Peace was an impossible dream, forever out of humanity's reach. Yet Midtown Manhattan was devoid of any violence, bristling with vitality and activities. Humans of various nationalities strolled down the streets. Cars prowled by, fighting for the right to the road against the pedestrians. And a group of civilians sat on the long stairs of a building across from a public library, feeding the pigeons while listening to music through their headsets. The Great Merge hadn't affected every circle of life, partly due to the demigods' protection of their realm. Many humans still lived inside their own bubbles, which could shatter any time. They had no fucking idea. I returned my attention to my companion, the most beautiful thing I'd ever seen. My heart ached, and longing filled my bloodstream. My night watched my every move with doting fascination.
To ease your mind, Lamb, we're going to take another form of transportation.
What do you mean? I stuttered. I don't like surprises. I wasn't a fan of uncertainty either, considering past events. A whirlwind swept over us, light and shadow exploding in front of my eyes. Hector enveloped his wings around me to shield me as if I was indeed his lamb. When the swirling light and shades vanished, glass spun around us, then stilled. Hector stood on the solid floor with me climbing him like a tree.
We're home, Lamb.
He chuckled at my expression, tucking in his wings. Home? I asked like an idiot. I'd been acting like that since the death demigod kissed me and took me to the sky. I hadn't been able to think straight, and it was still an effort to gather any coherent thoughts. I needed to get my shit together. I took in my surroundings. The dream I had shared with Hector rolled into the reality right in front of me. We were in an opulent apartment in a skyscraper, the view beneath our feet as stunning as it had been in that dream. On one side it was a lush park of green and pink. On the other, upscale Manhattan streets bustled with life and riches.
You're safe with me, Lamb,
Hector said, pressing me against his hard chest. We had landed, but he wasn't willing to let me go.
This entire building is warded. The windows are like one-way mirrors. We can see outside, but no one from the outside can see through the glass. They're also bulletproof.
How can we be safe here? Isn't Manhattan the worst war zone?
Neutral zone,
he said. But the demons and you guys fight even harder in the neutral zones than in the war zones.
This part of Manhattan is off limits to all parties, he said. Lucifer also has an apartment here. He stays in the East Wing when he visits.
What? I shrieked. I'm not ready to meet him. Every demon, including the first one I'd encountered in the dark forest around Crack, had taken an interest in me, and not in a good way. I was not up to being mistaken as the lost one, especially not by Lucifer, the great master of all demons, and being hurled to hell. It was already bad enough to have been dragged to Half-Death Academy, burned and beaten.
No one is allowed to touch you, Lamb. Not even Lucifer, Hector said. You're under my protection. Lucifer stays here a couple of days a year. Even if we're unfortunate enough to meet him in the common area, I believe we can manage to be civilized. Our armies fight each other, but we don't brawl like barbarians.
My lips thinned, ready to pull away from him. So you and Lucifer are buddies? I hadn't exactly lived under the devil's thumb, but every citizen knew what he had cost our world and civilization. Hector pulled me back against him and trapped me in his arms.
Never, Lamb,
he said, his jaw clenched.
He is my immortal enemy. We're all awaiting the final battle.
My heart thrummed at his mention of the final battle. A sudden cold fear pumped into my blood. What if Hector perished on the battlefield? I'd just found him.
Worry no more,
he ordered, tracing his thumb over my tight jaw.
Let's get you to the bath you badly need.
I reeked of demon blood and my own. It was a wonder Hector had even kissed me. I can do a bath, I said, and my pulse spiked like shooting lava. Was he going to share a bath with me? He seemed to be hinting at it. While I peeked at him hesitatingly, Hector scooped me up. I let my head loll over his broad shoulder and